What is going on? I'm zmoT. After the weekend, I have finally got some time to push, and thankfully we've got some tech to push as well. So code zmoT in that shop. Jumping in, you can see that my win losses are generally alright. 7 and 3 is not something to sneeze at, but not super great either. So right about now, I do not have that extra troop health. That is very, very appealing if you're trying to heavy bus rush, which, by the way, you should be trying to do. If you have 100% GBE and 100% troop damage, the bus rushing is basically unstoppable. With some asterisks. I notice that I do have the building health. That 100% building health means that I don't have to be fast anymore. For the entire weekend, I had to be fast and perfect, and it just didn't go super duper well. So I'm going against some bases that look, that's not the right base. That is not the one I wanted to show you. It was this one right about here maybe, where you go against this. Don't try to heavy bus rush this, because sure, you might be able to get through there, but the microwaver and the shock launcher and the critter launchers and the damage amplifier and 2 doom cannons, you will just get wrecked. So on these ones, what I'm trying to do is just dumb heavy chop a rocket chop. And I probably shouldn't have dropped that left one quite so early, because they kind of clump up on the right hand side. And you need about a 215 or so to have any chance of anything. You'll notice that I am dropping my artillery on that doom cannon just to try to slow it down a little bit. And even with some carefulness, you notice that I am using Brick's cluster grenade on some of these. I needed to get some well-timed flares and shocks and a little bit of luck to keep most of my rocket choppers alive, and wouldn't have flared back if I didn't have 100% building health. So I probably have a heavy bus rush here for you somewhere where it's just like, go. You'll notice that getting rid of the sky shield, moving all of our troops, and then just walking through. That battle orders was not well timed at all. A couple smokes once in a while just to keep your troops moving, maybe to keep Brick alive, and then just flare after flare after flare. I will show you what I've got for a base that does have some more building health, though, or some more critter launchers. And in these instances, I'm just going counterclockwise. If you go from the left ramp, you end up having to deal with those critter launchers and the hot pot for a long time, and I don't want that. So instead, what I'm doing is just going counterclockwise and probably using more flares than I should, just to get rid of shock launchers and critter launchers and the like. But by doing this, we end up not having to worry too much about the hot pot or the critter launchers, and that bottom critter launcher just doesn't come into play. So if you haven't been heavy bus rushing, do give it a shot. And if you have been, but you've been fizzling, look at some different angles, like if it's going counterclockwise, or just, I try to engage the critter launchers as late as I possibly can. And what that means is that you're not having them just like dropping 1,000 critters on you. You don't have to worry about hot pots eating all your troops. And we are going up against someone who only has 50% building health. So we have the advantage. Yes, they have 2 sky shields, and they've got 100% troop health, but we have gone forwards while they went backwards, and we should have a slight advantage here. So I'm just going to drop that up there, and then getting all of these things going. And what I tend to do is just avoid, see that cannon over on the left there? I don't have Cavon, and I can't do the Kavan late drop with second wind and all of that stuff. But what we can do instead is just clear forwards. We're going to clear all the way to that boom cannon. Once we get that boom cannon cleared, then we're going to get the heck out of dodge. And you'll see why in a second as we get a little bit of brick goodness. And then we're just going to get over here. And then we can throw a shock on the boom cannon just to be super cautious. That shock launcher is going to do us a bit of a favor, keeping some of our heavies over there. Maybe, not quite. And then just going forwards. Just getting into this corner. And we're going to get rid of that sky shield back there. We're going to farm some GBE in the process. And just dead simple up the side. And you might be saying, Zed, I don't have the building health. Your strategy doesn't help me. I apologize, but this will work for you when you get the building health. So please go forwards and get that building health. Did I just lose it? I did. I got so, I don't know how I did not lose a rocket chopper there. That was beyond lucky. As our heavy choppas get into position, these guys are doing good stuff, and we are just clearing and clearing and clearing. So definitely avoiding some defenses, not a ton. Like, what's that, 1 to 5-ish? But the fact is, we are avoiding some, which anytime you can skip, anytime I see someone attack me and they clear every single defense, I know I've got a slight advantage. We are going to get away from that stuff. We'll throw one more shock just to make gosh darn sure, and then we're just going to go onto that final engine room. And you don't want to have this many artilleries when you get that far, but we got a 2 minute 4 seconds. Is that going to work without building health? Probably not, but that should be good enough for us. I think no one's gotten terribly quick times against me. And you see, like, they're trying to bus rush, but bus rushing against 100% building health, it's just so slow. Like, they've got, like, no heavies left. I don't even have critter launchers or mortars. I copied this base off Ivan, like, I think it was Ivan. Is that right? Like a week ago or more, and they had some mortars at shore and some critter launchers, but we are going to have to watch them just grind their way through this base. So while they're doing that, I'll show you my tech tree here. Things that I have skipped are the mortars and Cavon and critters. And like I said, you've probably seen the attacks where they clear to the right and then they drop like Kavan and one bombardier and second wind and go up that left-hand side. Don't have those extra defenses, don't have anything down that path. That troop health is high on my list. My next unlock, though, is that troop damage. And if I can get to 22 today, then my next chest gives me the troop damage, which should be very, 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 very nice. So the tech tree is a fickle, fickle beast this season. So hopefully you guys have got some plans, and one of my accounts, stagnant beyond belief, but this one looks like it's got a nice little push window. So that troop, I've heard that the building health is not as big of a push as that troop damage, so very excited to get the troop damage. 150% troop damage, and if I can get against people who don't have the building health, having troop damage and the building health will be super, super, super clutch. So using those stat nodes to reduce some stress levels, like when it's up against those 6s that have like the 2 doom cannons and the microwaver, and like this one right here should be able to just bus rush this. You know what? Let's do that. They've got the 2 doom cannons, but we're gonna, you know what? I just, like, there's no need to do it is the problem now, because we have set ourselves up for just success with this tech that I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. We're gonna go over here. I am going to send you, Mr. Heavy Choppa, over there, and then we'll get you 3 over on that left-hand side. And the whole point of that is to leave that left-hand side a little bit late so that they make their way towards that boom cannon, and then that Heavy Choppa gets out front, and then we should be able to just get that shock there and that shock there. And you see that doom cannon? That doom cannon just literally hit my rocket chopper, and we did not lose a troop. That happens on occasion, and when it does, you are so lucky. I think it's because the rocket chopper is moving, and you end up getting some form of a glitch or a bug where your rocket chopper doesn't get shot down, and that rocket chopper right there is definitely going to get shot down as we clear the doom cannon at that back section. Still have our heavy choppers chopping their way through, and when I say choppas, I only have 1 alive at the second, but doing fairly all right thanks to that doom cannon missing its shot in the weirdest possible way. And now we are gonna pull out here in a second, because otherwise we don't need them to go towards that extra cannon. We're gonna go something like about there, and then we can get a shock there. And some of you might be saying, but Zed, you haven't gotten rid of that back sky shield. And honestly, I don't care about the sky shield. We are just going to walk through all of this stuff, throwing our artillery on some things, and then we're just going to flare over here and hopefully not have that hot pod pop up, but it is going to pop up right about now. Some of our rocket choppers had already targeted it, so we're going to get a halfway decent time. 2 minutes and 3 seconds, and Without the building health, I would have approached this completely differently. But most of these players, I haven't seen anyone get a decent time against my... That's actually probably the fastest time I've seen. So, Commander, you skipped choosing a name when Boom Beach prompted you. But actually doesn't do that anymore. You can't, I know before you would, if you didn't pick a name, it would just go Commander, but now I think you're forced to pick a name since they've changed things a little bit, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to that 22 rank. 22 doesn't do anything from a parking perspective, but I'm trying to hide the parking details for the second. And this is where we start to get into these sorts of bases. I don't have Cavon though, and people with the grappler are trying to block Cavon. We should be able to just walk through this, I think. Now, I don't know. Does Iron Will affect heavy choppas? I kind of want to just go slow and burn through this, but at the same time, don't know how that would work. So we're just going to go something like this, and we're just going to drop all on that left-hand side, and we're going to get 2 shocks out just to try to keep all of our rocket choppas alive. 1, 2, 3 to get rid of that cannon. And now we should be in decent straits, I think. Our rocket choppas should be staying alive in behind, and our heavy dudes getting a little bit of extra oomph from Brick, a little bit, and then we're just going to go through this. This base is set up for them to make people go slow, and I don't think we're going to be slower than them because of our beautiful, beautiful, wonderful stats that are, of course, the building health. So this base is going to be an absolute beast once you have building health, and I've seen a bunch of people start to move towards this base, but since I've got building health and they don't, our heavy chopper, rocket chopper should just chew through this in theory. We'll see in a second here. We're not going to be super duper quick here, as you can see by the fact. You know what? We are fairly gosh darn quick already, so those heavies coming in clutch, and heavies... Go back and max your heavies. There's a lot of goodness in your maxed heavies. I would rather have heavies than have 100% troop health. And now we are going to be fairly quick to fly towards the back. This space is probably going to be very strong against Kavan players, but we are very much not a Kavan player, making the very difficult decision to not pay the Kavan tax when it comes to picking up critters. And now we're just going to cruise through this base, throw in a shock there, and then we'll just drop all of our artillery on that back. So if you're using Kavan, know that these clumpy bases are coming. We managed to get a 2-minute 8-second time against it just by switching to 3 heavy choppas. Against Cigar 06, and Cigar is a player that usually has fairly gosh darn good attacks and times and is always on the leaderboard, but we just absolutely crushed their base. So because Cigar probably wants to get that building health to make his base a lot bit stronger. But you can see the fact that he's, oh, look at that! We got 22, right? Like that. A little bit of extra stars just because of the difference in tech levels and star levels. So into 22 we go. That is going to be hugely beneficial next chest, or if I can push to 23. So hopefully this gave you some hope for the end of that tech tree, because my hits were not good. That is fully reliant on the tech, and the tech is wonderful. So nonetheless, thank you for coming in and liking and sharing, and the comments are down these days, so do check the comments because there are some prizes there for you, and let me know what you think about the season and your tech and all the rest of it. Anyways, thanks for coming in. I'm zmoT. Peace.